If you've been trading a while, you might have seen these prop trading firms that are taking the market by storm. A lot of new traders are flocking towards them because they offer a seemingly good deal. If you are new at trading and you don't have a large amount of money in your trading account, these trading firms offer a way that a person can pay a small fee, pass some evaluations, and get a much larger funded account than they may have. There are advantages and disadvantages to that. I want to focus on the disadvantages and what you're probably not going to be aware of, or something that you might not have seen before. We're looking at the Apex Trader Funding website. I have 10 accounts funded with them, and I'm going to give you some insight into some of the things that I think are a hindrance and definitely cons in the greater scheme of becoming a funded trader. They lure you in with some marketing here, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. They're trying to show you transparency. We don't know for sure if this is what they've actually done, but they're telling us that they have a total compensation of customers since 2022 of almost 15 million, an average payout of almost $1 million a month, and almost 28,000 funded traders last month. Now, we need to look at the details because the devil is in the details. Some of the good things is they allow you to have up to 20 funded accounts at the same time. You can use copying programs, and they essentially tell you how to set that up. You can Google it and find out how to do that, but it allows you to trade all of these accounts at the same time or simultaneously. What you need to be aware of if you are new and you are thinking about picking one of these funds, and they're all very similar, is the starting capital number. It is not quite what they tell you. Even though they do give you an account with that amount, it's not really the amount that you can lose. You can read clearly here, the trailing threshold on a $25,000 account is $1,500. That means you have a $1,500 account you can lose. So in my opinion, it is better to pick the largest threshold that they offer, but you have to be wary that it is a little bit more difficult to pass. You have to make more money in the evaluation period. You might be thinking, well, these numbers are a little bit too out of my price range. One good thing about Apex is they do allow significant savings. They offer, I think, up to 80% off, and that offer is running quite a bit. So you could easily lower this number to about $140, $150 a month to try and pass. Now, here is where I think things are a little bit gray or they're murky, and people that are new to this don't understand what's happening. As we scroll down and we look at how the payouts work, they essentially allow you 100% of your first profit share, which is good. I approve of that. However, they limit your amount that you can cash out, and everything that they do is essentially done so that you cash out less money or less frequently. Basically, they're making it as difficult as they possibly can before you can cash out. Let's just assume we have a $300,000 account. We have to make $7,600 in that account before we can cash out. And if we do cash out, we can only cash $3,500 per cash out. They will allow you to withdraw twice per month, but the moment you cash out, you are reducing your trailing stop size. So if you're over here on the $300,000 full account and you cash out $3,500, your trailing stop is now only $4,000. It forces you to trade much smaller so that you can reach the next cash out point and get your full cash out. It's problematic. It's almost like there's an incentive for you to cash out because they make it very difficult. The trailing stop doesn't work the way you might think. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're trading and you're in a $300,000 account and you have $7,500 in trailing losses, or the threshold that you can lose. Well, let's say you get in a position and you make $1,000 and it's unrealized, meaning you haven't closed the trade and taken the profit, and you allow that position to run back to say break even. You've now reduced your $7,500 trailing stop to $6,500 and you didn't lose any money. That's one way that they get you, and it's definitely not in your best interest to keep using these things long term. It forces you to trade much more frequently. It forces you to use very, very tight stops, which again, the tighter your stop, the more trades you're forced to make, because you can't afford to allow this trailing threshold to lower itself by too much, or your account will be defunded or blown out. So how would I trade this if I were going to do this? Very simply, I would get funded. Let's assume that you can do that. And once funded, I would size down a bit and I would spend that month getting to my first cash out, I would try to get 7,600 in the 300,000. And then once I've done that, I would cash out immediately as soon as possible for the maximum, because I do not want to give them that money. I do not want to leave it on the table. This site could get taken down. They could go out of business. There could be a lot of things happening that's not in your favor. The odds are so stacked against you that if you do manage to meet their requirement, you should take it, in my opinion. Let's say you've cashed out, you spend the next 2 weeks trying to rebuild and getting back to that minimum balance. Then once you're back to that minimum balance, cash out again and just keep rinsing and repeating. There's no incentive for you to allow the account to continue building and building. Once you've taken a break-even trade that might have been winning, you're losing that trailing threshold, and it's so easy to blow up. Everything about these are a detriment in the way that you would trade. You would never trade this way in real life, in my opinion. You're going to allow your trades to work. And the math would say that it's probably worse to constantly keep moving your stops, but it is what it is. I think you need to be very careful and inform yourself with a good strategy on how you should approach these things if you are going to try and pass them.